Hey, what's up, everybody? How we doing? Can you hear me?
I
Give
can
me
hear
some
you.
way.
All clear.
Great. It's great to be here in London. What a nice visit. I'm speaking to you guys from Brooklyn, New York. It's snowing over here. It's been pretty cold the last few days, but we're here to warm things up. My real name is Yaniv. You can call me Yaniv. We're at that level now. Um, After just a few seconds. But looking forward to jamming out with you guys. I'm gonna play an original song, and we'll talk a little bit, and then we'll jump right into Kabbalat Shabbat. How's that sound?
Sounds amazing. So,
Great.
but just to get everyone in advance, when we start Kabbalat Shabbat, we're going to start from Yedid Nefesh, which is 151 in the blue siddur and 590 in the brown. If you don't have a siddur, you can close your eyes and just feel it as we go along. So, okay, this is Yaniv. This is his original song.
My mama's been waking up alone 365 days and nobody's home, but she still holds tight onto the memories of 60 years with you. Seems like everyone's got their day. What do you have to say? These children, they asking me as if I know the difference between my 2 feet. And tell me, do I know? Is what I feel the truth? And tell me, do I know? Is this plan bulletproof? Is this plan bulletproof? Is this plan bulletproof? La-di-dee-dum-di-dee-dum-da. La-di-dee-dum-di-dee-dum-dum-dum. Now I'm turning 100 years old. Tell me who is surrounding me. I just turned around to see my babies, they're climbing trees. But I couldn't have done this alone. My mama, she built this home. Now she wakes up to a new day, one in which all she can do is pray. But tell me, do I know? Is what I feel the truth? And tell me, do I know? Is this plan bulletproof? Is this plan bulletproof? Is this plan bulletproof? La-di-dee-dum-di-dee-dum, bum, bum. Da-di-dee-dum-di-dee-dum, bum, bum. I'm waiting for these bullets to come test my strength. La-di-dee-dum-di-dee-dum, bum, bum. La-di-dee-dum-di-dee-dum, bum. La-di-dee-dum, bum, 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 bum. La-di-dee-dum, oh, oh, oh.
Not being able to hear any clapping.
They're going crazy, insane.
Yeah, how's this sound? Is it?
It just, you can't hear you now. We could hear you a moment ago.
I felt you were in the room, which was so good, actually, the sound.
I felt that he was more than just in the room. He was within us. It was that good.
Yaniv, we can't hear you. Talk? Can't hear you. It's not working. Maybe it's me. Yaniv, we can't hear you. Something's gone wrong.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that was it. That's it. Good.
Okay.
Will, we need you in these situations.
We went too hard at the beginning.
Yeah, get on the.
Sometimes when we reach these high levels together, it just breaks things. So the material world sometimes can't handle what we have going on. Can you guys hear me okay now?
Yeah, perfect. Even Will gave his thumbs up.
Nice. Is Will our tech guy?
Will's a producer for TV, but
Okay, great.
you can see him on many TV shows.
So I'll just say a little word about myself. Like I said, I live in New York. I spent time all around the world, but my journey really started. I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but my spiritual journey started when I was much younger, when I was 18 years old, and I was traveling around, and I was on my way to Thailand to spend some time in an ashram, searching for spirituality at a pretty young age. And on my way to the ashram, I met an Israeli guy on the plane, and he said, "Why don't we stop at the Chabad house?" And from there, it totally changed my life. I was introduced to Hasidic philosophy and to Chabad, and it ended up changing the trajectory of my life, and it led me to many other adventures. I served in the IDF. I was a commander in combat in the IDF, and I went to New York University and got into music management, and I was managing artists and working at a record label. And then I realized that I had my own things to say. I was really in the secular music market, and I was realizing that it was just full of so much negativity and so much nothingness. And I said that instead of just supporting these artists and helping other people become to spread a message that was empty, I said, let me see if I can do this myself. And so I started putting out music a few years ago as JERYKO, and thank God it's taken off, and I've been able to travel around with my music to Australia, South Africa, Europe. It's been really cool. So now I'm in London. So good to be here with you guys. I usually don't do Kabbalat Shabbat like the rabbi said. I'm not a chazan, but I do like to sing Kabbalat Shabbat, and so I'm happy to be doing that with you guys. So again, this is not a performance, and I'd love for you guys to sing along. If you could, if you would be able to unmute your mics and it would sound okay, then I would love that. But I know it'll sound hectic, so we won't do that.
We've tried it with zero success. So at the end of Lachadodi, we can unmute for a bit, but it's a cacophony. It sounds like me singing, basically.
No worries. Does anybody have any questions before we get into it?
The question you're going to get is, when can you come to London for real? And the answer is when lockdown's over. I see Nikki nodding ferociously. We'll do it. We'll do a Shabbaton, don't worry.
We
don't have a full collection of people we need to invite. Okay. So 151 in the blue and 590 in the brown.
Hold on one second. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good.
ירוץ עבדך כמו איה, ישתחווה מול הדרך, ירב לו ידידותיך, מנופת צור וחותם.
I also have to read out of a siddur. I apologize.
Adonai, oizi va'olam, nafshi cholat avatecha. Ana refana la, oy ve'aros la, Anom zivecho, oyas titchasei, titzape, haytala, simchat olam, vatikemuna, oyrachamecha, v'chusana, abenahuvecha. Oy ki ze kama ninsov ninsafti oy ro meiro diver uzecho lechamdo chamdo libi v'chusana atitalam Igalena Ufos Habibi Allah Yetzukai Shelomecha Tairet Mikvodecha Nagila Benismchava Diddy dum bum bum bye, diddy dum bum bum bye, diddy dum bum 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 bye, diddy dum bum bum bye, diddy dum bum bum bye, diddy dum bum 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 bye, diddy dum bum bum bye, diddy dum bum bum bum, diddy dum bum 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 bye, diddy dum bum bum bye, diddy dum bum bum bye, diddy dum bum 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 bum. Diddy dum ba yam ba, diddy dum ba 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 yam ba, diddy dum ba 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 ba, diddy dum ba 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 ba, diddy dum ba ba ba, diddy dum ba ba ba, diddy dum ba 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 yam ba ba ba, diddy dum ba ba ba, diddy dum ba ba ba.
Shkrach, page 154 in the blue and 308 in the brown. Please, I'm going to ask it one more time. Everybody turn on your videos. There's at least 10, 15 people with their videos off out of 46 screens. So please, please, please do so. It's a tremendous percentage. Please turn on your videos. Over to you. You're on mute, Yaniv.
Oilechun ranena ladonai oinaria letzori sheino nekar mafanai betoda oy bezmira nari ala Arba'im shana akud bedor va'omar amtuei levavim ve'im lo yadu derachai Asher nishbati be'api mivun emnuchati Ay shiru ladonai shir chadash shiru ladonai kol haaretz shiru ladonai baruchu shemo basru miyom leyom yeshuato safru bagoyim kevodo b'chol ha'amim niflotav Oy ki gadol Adonai umulam meyor Oy norahu akol Elohim ay 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 kol Elohim Amim elilim v'Adonai shamayim asa Od ve'adal lefanav od ve'tiferet במקדשו עבור אדוני משפחות דמים עבור אדוני כבוד ועוז אוי עבור אדוני כבוד שמו אוי שאו מנחה ובאו לחצות אבויה השתחוו לאדוני ביד הקודש חילו מפניו כל הארץ אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך הבטיקון תבר בעצימות יד עינמים במשלים ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ אוי רמיים ומלוא יעלו סדה וכל השבו איי איי אז רננו כל הצייה לפני אדוני קיבה לשפוט הארץ ישפוט צבר בצדק בימים באמונתו לי לה 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 דידי די די די
If we were all together, we'd be dancing around and I'd be kicking things down, but now I'm stuck in my chair over here. I like to do Kabbalat Shabbat like a little bit of a concert. So continue your davening, and I'm gonna continue. Rabbi, do you want to announce because I'm not gonna do the beginning of that. So just if people want to do it on their own or.
If you want to do about Shem Tov story, we can do one now as well.
You want to do that? Sure. So the Baal Shem Tov, right? I'm sure the rabbis told you about the Baal Shem Tov before. The founder and innovator of the Hasidic movement back in the 1700s. Miracle worker, magic man, spiritualist, grounded leader. Really special person. I'm speaking as if I've met him, but I haven't. But I feel very connected to him. And there's a story about Shem Tov, one that I personally connect to, is that there was a man who came into the Baal Shem Tov synagogue, and he was a new person in town, and he would spend his whole day praying. Like he'd be there, he'd come before everybody else. Before even the Baal Shem Tov, he'd come early in the morning. He'd pray throughout the day. Everybody would leave for Shachrit in the morning, and he would stay. People would come back, and he'd be davening. He'd be praying, and then he would, people would leave again. He's always the last one there, and people were wondering, who does this guy think he is? He's not. Even the Baal Shem Tov doesn't pray as long as this guy prays. This guy's always praying. He's what's his story? And so the Baal Shem Tov said one day he's going to stick around and see what's going on with this guy. What's his story? And so the Baal Shem Tov, one time after one of the morning prayers, he stuck around in the back and saw this guy doing his thing. An hour later, he's still praying. The Baal Shem Tov slowly comes up behind him, and he sees that he's
he looks over his shoulder and sees in the prayer book that he's davening, he's praying the prayers of Yom Kippur. And it's like May, it's like totally irrelevant time. It's like Pesach time, and he's praying the prayers for Yom Kippur. And the Baal Shem Tov was like, "What's going on, dude?" He said, taps him on the shoulder, and he's like, it's not Yom Kippur, right? And he's like, Baal Shem Tov, I'll tell you the truth. He says, I don't actually know how to pray. I said, I've never used a siddur before. This is my first time since I joined this community. I'm using a siddur. And so I just pray the whole siddur every day. So that means he's going through, in an average day, he's praying the prayers of Hanukkah, the prayers of Passover. He's doing the Haggadah, he's doing Rosh Chodesh, so that's why it's taking him so long. And the Baal Shem Tov was like, he's like, man, I can, that's nice, but I can help save you some time, and I'll teach you some of the prayers, teach you what to do. And so they sit together and they put little passages, little notes in the siddur, said, this is where you daven in the morning prayer, this is where you daven in the evening prayer. And so then he finally has this organized siddur, right, that he's able to pray out of. So the Baal Shem Tov leaves, and this guy is ecstatic. He's like so happy that he got to spend this private time with the Baal Shem Tov, and now he has an organized siddur. He knows what he's going to daven. He starts dancing, right? Starts dancing around with this siddur. And then as he's dancing, does some kind of extra move, little spin, and then boom, the siddur falls on the ground. And out falls all of the little notes that they made together. And he's like shocked and devastated. He's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I just did this whole thing with the Baal Shem Tov. I have to go find him, and we need to get these notes back. So he grabs his siddur and he runs after the Baal Shem Tov. And he sees him like way ahead of him, and he runs to the end of town. And he sees the Baal Shem Tov getting close to the river at the end of town. The Baal Shem Tov looks both ways, and this guy sees the Baal Shem Tov take a handkerchief out of his pocket, put it on the floor, steps on the handkerchief. The Baal Shem Tov steps on the handkerchief, and he floats across the river. The guy comes to the edge of the river, and he says, well, I got to catch the Baal Shem Tov. I'm just going to do the same thing. Takes a handkerchief out of his pocket, puts it on the floor, steps on it, and levitates across the river. The Baal Shem Tov keeps walking, didn't notice this guy did that, and catches up to the Baal Shem Tov, and he's out of breath, this guy, and he says, Baal Shem Tov, he says, listen, I'm the guy from the synagogue. We just went through the notes, and I just dropped all my notes. I'm so sorry. And he's like all stressed out. And the Baal Shem Tov was like, yeah, don't worry about it. We can put the notes back in. He's like, but tell me, how did you just catch up to me? He said, well, I saw you cross the river on a handkerchief, so I just did the same thing. The Baal Shem Tov stops for a second. He says, you keep doing the thing you're doing. Keep praying the prayer that you're doing all day, because it's working. So the idea of the story is that it doesn't matter necessarily, if somebody knows what they're saying out of a siddur. Doesn't matter if it's Hanukkah and they're praying, Yom Kippur prayers, whatever it is. It's about the way that you say and the way that you speak to God and the intention that you have and the connection that you make. So, and that's what gives you that strength and that connection. So, l'chaim, everybody.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Shama v'tismach Tzion v'targelna b'nod Yehuda Olam mishpatecha Adonai ki ata Adonai Yom Akol Haaretz Amyon Aleiter Akol Elohim Ohavei Adonai Sinura Shomer Nafshot Chasidah Me'ad Rishayim Yatzilei Or Zarua Latzadik Ulishrei Lev Simcha Simchu Tzadikim B'Adonai V'hodu לזכר קודשו. אוי מזמור שירו להשם, שיר חדש, כי נפלאות עשה, הושיע לו ימינו זועקת שודי אדוני ישועתו, לעיני גויים גילה צדקתו, זכר חסדו ואמונתו, לבית ישראל ראו כל אפסי הארץ את ישועת אלוהינו, הריעו לאדוני כל הארץ, פיצחו ורננו וזמרו, זמרו לאדוני בחינות, בחינות בכל זמרה, בחצוצרות בכל שופר, הריעו לפני המלך אדוני רמיה ומלוא תבל יושבי בה, נהרות שמחה וכך יחד הרים יעננו לפני אדוני כי בא ישפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק ועמים במישרים. לה 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 לה
So just a word about this, the ending of this next prayer. When I served in the army, I served in the Givati unit from 2012 to 2014. And the first big operation I was a part of is called Amud Anan, which was in 2013. And it was an operation in Gaza, and it was, we didn't go inside, but it was a very intense part of my life, something that I learned a lot from, and it made my whole, it kind of colored my whole experience in the army, and as a commander, realizing how real and how real the work that we do is. And so I made a promise to myself after that experience that every Kabbalat Shabbat that I would do, that during that moment when I say Ba'amud Anan, which is in this prayer here, that I would think about the soldiers of Israel and the young boys and girls that are on the front lines and that are giving up some of their most precious years to protect the country of Israel. So I like to take a moment just to thank them and to think about them, have them in our thoughts.
Ba'amud Anan Yidaber Aleichem Shamu Eidotav V'chog Natan Lamo Adonai Eloheinu Ata Nitam El Noseit Elayim V'nokim Al Alilotam Eramemu Adonai Eloheinu V'yishtachavu Le'kodsho Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
Everybody please rise.
Oy mizmor David, Avul Adonai Melim, Avul Adonai, Kavod Va'ozayah, Avul Adonai, Kevod Shemo Yishtachav Adonai Be'adat Kodesh, Kol Adonai Alamayim, El Agavot Tirim, Oy Adonai, Yalmayim Rabim, Kol Adonai, Be'ad, oh shoot, I lost my place. Be'adai Kol Adonai Shover Adazimai Shover Adonai Edazri Alvanon Vayakideh Kemo Egel Lebanon Etzirion Kemo Beremi Vay Kol Adonai Vay Chosev Le'avodesh Kol Adonai Yachir Midbarei Yachir Adonai Midbakadesh Kol Adonai Echol El Hayalot Vayechel Zoyalot Vaychalo Ulo Megavot Oy Adonai Lama Mul Yashav Vayeshev Adonai Oy Melech Le'olam Adonai Oseh Amo Yiten Adonai Yevarech et Amo B'Shalom Diri lay 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 Diri lay 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 Diri lay 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 Diri lay lay lay
I'm just going to say a few words before we start L'Chadodi. We get and then we'll do L'Chadodi. So let me just say a few brief words. If Shalom allows me, he may scream during it. So I apologize in advance for his behavior, and it's all his parents' fault. So L'chaim. I just want to articulate one specific point that is worth bearing in mind and worth repeating as a thought process. We have this concept in Judaism where on some level there is a profound adherence to the rules. And for a lot of people, especially in the modern terminology, rule makes people distinctly uncomfortable. Who wants to follow rules? Who feels that rules is a good idea, especially as you grow older, from teenage on, and even children don't like the concept of being told what to do. On the other hand, you have the idea of inspiration within Judaism. Now, for some people, the inspiration of Judaism is where it's at. That's where they're most happy. For some people, they actually like a rule-based lifestyle for whatever reason. And Judaism obviously has both ideas within it. And you can contrast them by the two portions we read. Last week we read about the 10 Commandments, thunder and lightning, unbelievable, inspirational. Birds don't even chirp. The entire world is still. This week, Mishpatim, we read about a lot of cold rules about how to conduct yourself in business matters, when you take a loan, when you lend money, all very specific and very detailed. So to contrast these two ideas next to each other, but I do concentrate on one idea specifically in this week's portion, which is the concept of a gift. It's the secret gift that all Jews know about. So it's kind of the known secret, if you will. The idea goes that when God gives the commandments to the Jews, he's about to, and he says, would you like them? And they famously say, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will listen. And at that moment, we read in Midrashic imagery that The angels upon high scream, and God screams, and there's this great holler coming. And what is this image? What is the scream? What is the shouting about? God says, who revealed to my children this great secret? As if there is this secret called saying, I will be obedient, and then I will understand and be inspired as to why. And the Jews somehow captured this secret. So I just want to address 2 points very briefly. Why is it a secret? What's the secret if we all know about it? And what's the point of it? If I told you, is it possible you can please sign this contract? But don't read it afterwards. Would you sign? I know you all would, could trust me implicitly, but would you? You've got to be pretty crazy to sign a contract before reading the details. And yet somehow there is this message, and it's a good idea that God says, hey, will you accept what I'm about to say? And they say, yes, I'm in, and then tell me about it later. It seems really bad advice and profoundly un-Jewish to not read the terms and conditions before you sign. But yet we are told this is great, this is a secret, and it's a known secret that we all know about. So I think it works something like this. There are different types of secrets. There's a secret that nobody tells anybody else, but then there's a secret that everybody knows, but it's just too hard or too difficult for us to really utilize, and so it becomes almost secretive. We almost don't want to say it loudly. For example, the secret that we're all self-obsessed. It's a secret, meaning we all know we are. We know that the center of every experience we have in our life is us. We've never had a thought or an emotion or watched an event or took part in anything that we weren't the sole center for ourselves in it. Never happens, can't happen. But if I say it, it sounds quite repulsive. You think of me as quite selfish. That's a bizarre thing. Not me, I'm quite selfless. Well, do we even have the ability to be selfless? It's not so clear. So it's a secret that nobody likes discussing. So the other secret that nobody likes discussing is this concept. How in are you in any relationship, in anything that you involve yourself in? How committed are you to the project? Well, the question is simple. In your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with your friends, do you have that na'aseh v'nishma element? Are you able to say, I'm committed to you regardless of what it takes? Now, we don't like saying that because we're particularly guarded people, and we've been taught our whole life and burnt by experience, many, to not go that far and not sign a contract before we've read the terms and conditions, but that's in contractual law. But in the law of love, in the law of attraction, not contract, there is a different realm. There's a different way of treating it. It's possible for you to be head over heels, to be committed, even without understanding. It's a secret. It's tough to do, but that's where your relationship begins. It's like I tell everyone about buying flowers for Shabbat. It's a really stupid thing to do. Flowers die and they're expensive. And if you just bought a gift, you could get it for the same price. But it's actually precisely the fact that the flowers die and there's no real point to them other than it brings somebody else happiness, which makes it so beautiful. If you bought something that had a utility, that had a use, it wouldn't be so romantic. It wouldn't be about the other. It would be about the use that this object has. And the true secret of life is to be able to show somebody else in your life that I love you. And in order to love somebody else, it means doing things that might be not sensible, that might not be purely in your rational game. But once you go that far, you're able to transcend yourself and touch a part of yourself that you might even have not been aware that you had. And Judaism offers everybody that open secret. Of course, there's the inspirational side. Of course, there's the legal side. But both of them fall and pale in comparison to the transcendent side. The ability to dive in headfirst, once in a while, to something, an ideal, a principle, that you might not feel so committed to in your heart, but your soul is telling you to do. This is the secret that we attained at Mount Sinai. The angels were too scared to tread in this place, but we have the ability to be able to get there. So on the Shabbat Rosh Chodesh Adar, every one of us should think deep and think about if there's any relationship or a moment in our life that we were able to get beyond ourselves and to allow Hashem or any other person in. Good Shabbos all, and we'll start L'Chadodi now.
Oh, this guy's your rabbi, huh? What a legend. It's a lucky community. So we'll start. I think we'll start Lecha Dodi with a more familiar tune that some of you might know, but probably not from Shul.
Shamor Zachor Bedibor Echad Yish Mianu Elam Yuchai Adonai Echad U'Shemo Echad L'Shem Shem U'Letiferet Ve'Letila L'Chadodi Likat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Likat Shabbat L'chov Nerchaki Imekor HaBeracha Merosh Mikedem Nesucha Sov Masev Machshavat Echila Lecha Dodi Likat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Oy Migdash Melechi Imelucha Kumi Tei Mitoch Hafecha Oy Rav Lach Shevet Rav Lach Shevet B'yemei Abacha V'hu Yachmol Alaychem Lach Lecha Dodi Likat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela
Migdash Melechi Melucha Gumitzei Mitoch Hafecha Lach Shevet B'yemei Gabacha V'hu Yachmol Alaychem Oy Lecha Dodi Oy Likat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Oy Hinari Me'afakomi Livshi Bigde Tifatechami Al Yadish Ben Pati Kava El Nafshi Ge'ala Oy Lecha Dodi Oy Likat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Hitoreri ki ba'orech Kumi uri Shir daberi Kevod Adonai Alayich nigla Oy Lecha Dodi Oy Likat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela לא תבושי ולא תיגלמי מה תשתוכחי ומה תמי ברכסו אני עמי ונבנתה היא הצילה אוי לך דודי אוי לי כת קלה
Christos Osaich Verachaku Kol Mebalaich Yasis Alaich Elohai Kisos Achatan Al-Kala Elecha Dodi Oli Kat Kala Penei Shabane Kabela Yaminu smoti voti et Adonai Tariti al yadish ben parti ben ismecha ben nagila Olecha dodi Oli kat kala Penei Shabane kabela. Now we rise and turn to the door. Boi b'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'b'tzala toch emunei am segula boi kala oy lecha dodi oy kat kala b'nei Shabane gabela. Wishing you all an amazing Shabbos in London.
We have time. Shabbos is 4:50 p.m. So I have a special request, Yaniv. How to fly. If you could do that.
Oh.
Thank you.
I'll tell you the truth. Rabbi. So How to Fly is my most recent release. And I haven't yet performed it because I haven't played a live show in a while. So I'm not there yet.
Okay, so give your favorite song to do.
I'll give you another song. But I like that you're holding in the most recent release, Rabbi.
You know me, I'm up and coming.
100%. Let's see here.
Over the mountains, under the heavens, I'm gonna search for you all the way. Kingdoms and castles, forests and battles, nothing gonna keep me away. I keep my faith in this journey. Thought of you and I don't worry. I'm gonna find you if it takes all the days in my life. And I'm gonna fight for you, and one day I'll make you my wife. I'm gonna find you, and I'm gonna love you, Lonely rivers, longest winters, keeping warm by the light of day. Night is coming, my guitar strumming. All that's left is to hope and pray. I keep my faith in this journey. Thought of you and I don't worry. I'm gonna find you if it takes all the days in my life. And I'm gonna fight for you, and one day I'll make you my wife. I'm gonna find you, and I'm gonna love you, I'm gonna find you, and I'm gonna love you,
The song I wrote for my wife.
Beautiful, beautiful. Shkayach.
Well,
Everyone can mute themselves. We can hang out for a bit. We have 6 more minutes to